Nice and kind, leading cobalt ice. He's a blue, cute, and deadly little guy. Seeing through the fog, old gods he's slayed. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, king of the game. I believe in you, that's what he'll say. Nice and kind, leading cobalt ice. He's a blue, cute, and deadly little guy. Seeing through the fog, old gods he's slayed. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, king of the game. I believe in you, that's what he'll say. Nice and kind, leading cobalt ice. He's a blue, cute, and deadly little guy. Seeing through the fog, old gods he's slayed. Go7, 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 Go7. Go7, 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 Go7.
Hello, hello. How was everyone doing? Let me get this to line up nicely. There we go. Now we're talking. You just woke up, my goodness. Oh, my bad. Okay. We're back to the new chat. We lost all the other chats. Hopefully it's picking you guys up. Maybe it takes a while. There we go. That way we can see when people are chatting on Twitch or YouTube. It's the power. There we go. Tester from Twitch. We don't get thinking Lynn. Oh no. Secret tech, I know. Steeler kept bringing up that I was forgetting to put it in the list, so we're just going to start with it. Easy peasy. I'm expecting things to be rather broken here. So I'll make Steeler into Yellow Comet. Cobalt Ice for Rim. Any predictions as we wait for some people to show up? Any predictions as to what the cheating was? Last time the cheating was extra movement. It was specifically, it was diagonal movement. It's on the website and not the replayer because the replayer refuses to take the replay. Yeah, you've got those emojis too, man. Nick. One hit KO everything. The diagonal movement was very strong. I'm assuming it's going to have something to do with movement again because this is Sami that we're dealing with, so capping might be ridiculous or something. You're part of the Stealth Fire Association versus Drake. Oh, yes. Yeah, the last one had legal movement. It would, so you know how you can move 3 with an infantry? Steeler had it unlocked so that 3 could also be 1, 2, 3. I think it's been fixed now. What's Steeler up to with these secret texts? Indeed. We'll find out. Alright. First action, just building an infantry. Nothing suspicious there. And another infantry. Okay. Alright, so far. We had it happen again. Okay, so this is... You actually get to see it happen. So this is what we saw in the first secret tech. So it's 1, 2, 3, start the capture. I don't know if there's new secret tech or is it just showing off that secret tech again. It's pretty nice though, because now the turn advantage for this map is completely messed up. Okay, nothing tricky about that. APC, are we gonna try and go and take this lab? One, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't know. I would have thought an APC from this base would be better. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Drop off. That's probably too. I don't think it's going for the lab. All right, we went into the APC. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's where you get to go 7 with Sami. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Drop off infantry there. I mean, that's pretty scary. But so far, this looks very legal. I suppose if the base is clear, the APC can actually go through the mountains. We have another APC. Very suspicious. You're right. Stealer can capture the middle island. 1 and 2. You can get the airport too. That's true. It has been fixed. It has been fixed. This isn't old. Diagonal movement's better than Sturm because typically diagonal movement takes 2, so you're doubling your movement. Like to go here, usually you go 1, 2. Instead you go 1. Okay. An error. Cannot read properties of null. I think what happened there is Stealer tried to unload here. Okay, we do have our capture into the center. 1, 2, 3. Okay, another error. Our tank. I'm not sure what these APCs are doing. They're just trying to get down here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Get the airport quick. This one is very highly suspicious APC. Or tank. Game has an error. Game has an error. Alright, the APC ran back. This APC did go down to the airport, as predicted. I'm not sure what's up with this what this APC's dream was. Like, I guess if they didn't build something from their base, then you can get the lab. Is the thinking? That's very bold. I know Steeler's got the cheat codes. Artillery. We got a missile. Rim is ready to shut down this airport. Is this capping? Why is this APC stand? Steeler whole turn was step onto the airport and then end? Well, things are looking up for Grim for sure. Okay. ABC takes perfectly legal movements to get over here. Mega tank. Error? Maybe something's happening in those errors that we just don't get to see. One, two, three. How'd you get to this airport? I know the infantry moving diagonally it's very strong. 1, 2, 3, otherwise known as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Infantry move as fast as tanks. Yeah, I don't know what's up with. I guess this missile is to lock down this airport. This one's to lock down this one. But Steeler hasn't even tried to take the airport. It's just kind of been sitting there on the APC. Down goes this APC. They are a little flimsy to tank fire. I think Steeler might lose this game somehow. Now, something to keep in mind though is that the Mega Tank's a lot scarier too. I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4 smack. Maybe Steeler can't lose the game. He got almost double speed Mega Tanks, assuming they're at a diagonal. You also have 1, 2, 3, 4 threaten to come out either side here. There's no way that can be the right place. You gotta go 1, 2, 3, 4 hit from the city. An error. It makes me think that Steeler tried to unload diagonally. Maybe Steeler is unloading diagonally. We just need to see. This is not a pre-deployed map. The secretest of texts. Where's the tank? I think it gets hit for 2. Wow. APC dies. This APC. Wait. Wait. Oh, the infantry was capping. The infantry did capture while inside the APC. Aha! There's our next secret tech to be revealed from Steeler. That still doesn't explain what these APC's dreams are. There's no way this base is just going to be cleared for you to like walk in and take the lab. An expensive bike. Now, what would be cool is you could turn your APCs into expensive tanks if you can put mechs in them and have them still fire. Oh, interesting. So this APC no longer says it's loaded, but when I mouse over it, it says there's an infantry in it. There, now it says it's loaded. Rim kills this one. Missile in position. I guess the artillery can very easily lock this down. 1, 2, 3. Neo tank. Block the way. Yeah, shooting missiles from their guns. Yeah. Steelers got the hacks. Another error, another error. We haven't seen an attack diagonal yet. I guess Steeler hasn't figured out how to do that yet. Just move. But you would think you'd be able to attack diagonally if you can move diagonally. Oh, this map is old. Yeah, they already base locked from the island. Yeah, only Steeler has the secret tech in these games. Steeler's hidden knowledge. Steeler's I believe a dev on the site. So this is more finding bugs to fix. Whoa. That tank got trapped. I guess that's what happens when you try and attack diagonally. Is your unit's trying to move in there, and then they find out there's a unit there, so they get trapped. Diagonal moving mechs. It isn't a fog game, no. I mean, usually you can get... The only times you get trapped in standard is when you run into a stealth or a sub. Then you can get trapped in standard. Or Grim. Your best buddy. Okay, we got a Victory March. I mean, the Victory March is pretty insane in the range. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can't quite make it here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Can take this one though. Pop. I just took this one. Oh, what? Why would you do that? You got this guy, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Or 1, 2. Because this guy's got 1, 2, 3, 4. Capture this. Messing up. Now this Naberius wants to go over here, maybe? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What the mech didn't diagonal walk to take this? Oh, we get the base. 1, 2. I see. I assume. Whoa, how did I saved the base? I unflipped it. Now it's yellow. That's okay. How did I save it before? Now it's saved. I don't know. So how did this get captured? I assume it's the black boat? Did the black boat go on land? Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go back further so we can see it capture. built a mega tank. So that got to be captured, and the unit that captured got to move on with the APC. I don't know how that flipped. I thought there was maybe the black boat shenanigans. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. The black boat can't go there and back, so it can't like. I don't know how that one got flipped. I think what happened is the APC, like, as it's moving, yeah, the infantry captured here, and then the APC brought it on, continued on. Mighty strong, if I do say so. So if you are ever playing a game against Steeler and Steeler builds an APC, you need to like kill it on the double. I mean, it'd be amazing if they somehow base swap, but I don't think they will. Capture. Just 4 instant mega tank. He's returning this way. Some errors are happening somewhere. Mega tanks. Nothing got built here. That's all Grim did. Oh, whoa. That's all Grim did, and then Sami passes the turn back. And then Grim passes the turn back. No, it's just Grim's turn. It's just Grim's turn. Okay, Grim. Yeah. Okay. I think Grim just takes those things. Okay. And then it and then it's Steeler's turn and the base swaps back. I don't know how the base swaps back. That artillery just move and shoot? Or did something else attack? Wait, does it tell me? I guess... Is what happened here like Steeler steals the infantry and then has a cap? Let's see the log. Don't get to see the log. I just want to see if it's this infantry fires. No. Get to see the log, huh? Very sus. Is that the end of the game? That's the end of the game, but it doesn't even say... It doesn't even say the game ends. Very sus. Very sus. He's even wiped the log. I know. Can't just do that. Are all the turns? Yeah, they're all wiped. To be fair, it's called secret tech, not check the log tech. So when Stealer does this, is this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or does Stealer go over this city? No, Stealer dodges that city. So I suspect that when Stealer does this, Stealer's actually starting a capture on this. Look, yeah, you can see it. Okay. Oh, you guys can't see it. You guys can't see it, can you? Chat's just a tiny bit too big. There. You can see that the city has 5 capture points left on it. So Stealer is capping this city when the APC drives by it. And unfortunately for Stealer, does this APC live? I don't remember. No, this tank goes back and kills it. Okay. Which saves the city. Although it still says it's being capped. It didn't go to 20. I guess we can see if it flips and we missed it. Or I missed it. It still says it's at 5. Error. No kidding, error. It's still at 5, but Stealer wasn't able to cap it. Mega sus. He lowered the city's health forever. That's true. This might now just be an insta cap. I want to see if I can figure out how Stealer took this base back. Go there by turns. And that's how this gets taken, is Stealer does that like APC run by thing. Capture start there. Clear the base. Did this infantry have a turn standing here? I think it did. It died. On build, so it's not like it started a capture secretly. I mean, there's this APC. I don't know how the APC from here be like starting a capture on your own base kind of a deal. Grim starts capturing this. It goes down to 10, which makes sense. Grim finishes capturing this. But what's weird about this is, if we look at this base, it has 20 capture health. This has no capture health. This has 20 capture health. This has no capture health. I don't know what it means to have no capture health. Apparently what it means is you're not actually captured. Because this... Now it has negative 15. Well, negative 15 would make you think that, I guess, Stealer had an infantry on there. And so the infantry goes for the capture and then flips it. I don't quite understand why. Now it's back at 20 because the unit died on it. This will still be at 5 because nothing died on it, right? No, it's at 20. Well, I figure it has to do something with his infantry in the APC, but it didn't even run over it. The black boat is looking mighty sus. Maybe that's what did it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There was a lot of errors that went on there. So I don't even know if the black boat like went out and came back or anything like that, and we just don't get to see it. It's a stealth fighter, yeah. GG. Secret tech number 2. Steeler looking mighty sus. Mighty sus indeed. Mr. Greenskin, I think I saw you in the chat, didn't I? Your game ended quick. Yeah, so was your game your first submission or was it your second? I wasn't quite sure. Let's switch over to the other screen here. So 1 second. Yeah. Have you submitted a game before? Because if it's your first game submission, it gets priority, and I'll show it right now. Otherwise, it's just in the queue. I wasn't sure if you've submitted one a long time ago. Two years ago. Is it the one where you beat me up? It probably was. Okay. Look, 2 years ago is a long time. Can't believe it's stream's been going that long. Success. All right, then we will go to boom replays. Vault 94. InuTheTengu. Quota Iota. 3 recons are. That is Mega Man. Okay. Why did I make this so big? A little bit smaller, I guess. I'm sure there was a reason that was so big. Okay. You even with the penguins. Look at that. Vault 94 did not cooperate though, so it's returned it. Here we go. I don't think I know this map. Vault 94, it's fog. Or no. Vault 94 is the player. What's the name of the map? The name of the map is Quota Iota. Oh, I do know this map. It's the bum map. Yeah. This is the one that Eligatua likes a lot, right? I don't know what happened in Vault 94. Okay, double airports. Seems like I just realized that Vault 94 did not go for the neutral base right away. That is going to be a little bit painful. It'll mean that Vault 94 is just going to be a lot slower going out into the center in comparison to InuTheTengu, as well as being down in units. But it looks like this base is only responsible for maybe like 2 captures or so it's not so bad. It's not like in some cases where you go down like 10k in income. It'll just be like K down. Most likely, as well as down in units. And you're opening or copying the Elegatua opener. That's a classic strat, is to copy high-level players. I would recommend it for, well, definitely check out what the player's doing, try and see why they're doing stuff. But it can be very helpful just to give your own mind a little bit of a break. I guess this sets up for capture in the future. It could have gone and gotten this capture right away, but it wants to pick up an infantry from this base. I just don't know why it wants to pick up an infantry from the base from there. You could just go here, and then the T-Copter has more options. The only thing this gains is it goes more on the top. I guess you just want to stay on the top. That's fine. It don't matter. 94, sending a tank out. Tank first. Tank into artillery. Okay. So usually when you go early artillery and fog is when you know the map really well, so you know where engagements are going to be happening, and you just have an artillery there for a typical engagement. Okay. Looks like we're going to do double boost. Sure. I don't think that did too much. I don't think I like that at all, even. The idea is that now this infantry can get picked up by this T-Copter. But it didn't line up 2 infantry for captures here. So only 1 infantry is getting a capture. And this guy didn't really get helped at all because he could have just walked. I don't know, that seems really sus to me. Oh, you built the T-Copter 1 turn too fast. Oh, I see. You're ad-libbing here. Well, my recommendation would be like, I go back. Or good old T-Copter here. Yeah. So you can just let this guy walk forward if you want. And then he'll go for this capture, and then you can hop into this transport copter, go to here with it, drop off so this infantry can go for this capture, and then you can still pick up for this guy. Because the only thing really, while it is fancy to have boosts, you only really care if the boost is getting you closer to the property. I guess in this case, this guy goes for this capture, this guy walks past and goes for these captures. It's just super delaying the economy. So it's all good. I don't think it's all good. I mean, this is still workable. It's okay, just win. Alright, Vault 94 is doing some nice strong side, weak side stuff here. We got lots of infantry over here, and all the vehicles over here. Start one capture. The diagonal of the map looking like it's right here. So these are all the stuff that's contested. Although this stuff's not really contested. It's pretty slow for these vehicles to get up here. So I think this stuff is fairly free. If the opponent's not using the black boat. If the opponent's using the black boat like InuTheTengu is, then the infantry can fight over here. So it looks like the vehicles from Vault 94 are going to be saying hello pretty soon. We have an APC, a late APC. Like late early game APC? That's weird. No offense. It's weird because there's 2 airports here. There's 1K left over, so it could have been transport copter infantry. And also, late early game APCs tend to be pretty bad just because that's when you're ramping up for the potential fighting that's going to be happening in the mid game. Once you have like middle mid game, late mid game, then APCs become good again to buy because you have a large standing army. Want to hear a really sad joke? No? Okay. Hey, Alligatua, is your refrigerator running? Alligatua, no. I just got home from vacation and it's not running. Is that... I know that there's a joke around... There's like a, hey, is your refrigerator running? You should go out and catch it. I don't know. Okay, so we do have the vehicles coming in to this corner. Looking good. APC is lined up to pick up infantry. Nice. As well as lots of infantry transport over here. I guess the APC could stand here the whole game and you'd have infantry hop in, gets boosted to here, and then they can hop into the black boat next turn. The joke is that it's not a joke. I'm so sorry, I'll get to it. The comm tower capture. Very infantry focused here. I do like the combination of the infantry and the artillery. If you're going to have one unit with a bunch of infantry, that tends to be the one. This tank got said hello. The infantry's okay. Now, this is not the kind of formation that you would want to have as Vault 94. It's kind of a nightmare. If InuTheTengu had a tank over here, things would be really sad because this artillery does not cover, right? And there's a really nice terrain for the tank to strike from. This city, this tank is on the road. The artillery doesn't cover. So one of these things has to be changed. Either the artillery needs to be closer to the tank so it actually covers the tiles that can attack it, or the tank just needs to not be there. It can be one back. Ideally, both would be true so that the opponent doesn't have great terrain to strike you from. Just something to keep in mind, because you just don't know. I mean, it's very plausible that InuTheTengu would have a tank coming down this way, and then this would just kind of get wrecked because of it. Okay, so Vault 94 had some priority placed on this comm tower, which it looks pretty contested, so that makes sense. And in this case, InuTheTengu is going to just try and lock down this comm tower. The tanks, oh my gosh, it's so bold. The artillery moved away from the tank attack while leaving the city open. In this case, it's going to be fine because none of the tanks can reach. But that shouldn't be fine. The artillery is finding a home in the forest, and that's a pretty nice forest to have an artillery in because it covers 4 different cities. But you wouldn't really want to rush that kind of situation because, like, right now, the vision for that artillery is really bad. It's so lucky. Okay. Yeah, I do like this artillery position with like an infantry going for this capture. That's pretty nice. It's a little dangerous. It's not that dangerous, I guess. If you see artillery tank over here, it's pretty safe to send the recon in. So I wouldn't suggest unloading all of your infantry down here with no real backup. I guess this copter's coming in as the backup. But it's kind of fake backup because at day 10 you'd expect an anti-air to be around. So the tanks can just kind of come down here and help out with this artillery attacking infantry for essentially free. Very bold attack over here. It's going to interrupt this capture. The artillery will get to fire. Bam, bam. Join cap it. I wouldn't join if I'm Vault 94 here. There's no real point to join cap. You'll make it so you have like a little bit more wiggle room in taking the city, but it's a lot better to just have the 1 health infantry standing in the way, like standing over here, or standing over here if it wants, or here, to make sure the artillery stays safe or that the city's harder to break. Vault 94 step off of this. Oh, no, oh, the infantry stepped off. That's right. So these attacks seem pretty good to me. Attack away from where the vehicles are coming from. Ideally, there would be an anti-air already over here to help with this push, because you see that the airport has a really fast reinforcement over the ocean and mountains, so you kind of have to expect that those are coming. Especially when Vault 94 is doing the exact same thing on the opposite side of the map. Floating 7K. Lot 94. Trying to get the double comm tower set up here. Okay. Up that. Kill off that infantry. It is not in range of the artillery. So it's okay. The artillery fired on this infantry. The infantry fired on this artillery. I don't think that's going to be quite worth it. I would rather go after infantry than shoot the artillery a little bit. It's still going to be very effective at this health, and now these infantry are also going to be effective. And it's pretty easy to repair this. Like, it can just go down here for the city if it ever wants to. Up. This is where having that like 1 health infantry standing here, for instance, would be really nice. Obviously not the end of the world for Vault 94 to get hit by the tank here, because it's not like these guys want to stick around over here with this copter, so now they get to retreat and also strike at a unit. Or the artillery can stay and fire at the recon. That's less ideal. I'd like to go onto the city here, strike from the forest, and then have this tank finish off the tank from the plains. We're going to join cap this. Let's see, the copters be swinging in. Neither player has anti-airs right now. Get the beat down. That's a weird beat down. I guess it lets this artillery kill this one, is the plan. Indeed. A nice strike on the Jess infantry here. I don't know why these guys are still moving over here. There's nothing to do with the copter. Wow, that's a... What was it trying to do? I guess it wanted to stand on the city to hit the infantry? I would definitely fall back. You don't want to get hit for free from copters. There'd probably be another one in range. Kind of like what's going on over here, so... I would just build an anti-air, fall back with the tanks. You can try and rely on just pure copter to fight copter, but that does require for you to send copters over here. So even when you do that, though, I think it's better to have at least one anti-air. Though it's true that J copters could definitely fight just copters all day long. Especially with all the planes. Okay, InuTheTengu goes for the anti-air. Despite Vault 94 having this comm tower and kind of going for this one, InuTheTengu does have a lot more control over the corners right now, and is 4k up this turn, which ain't half bad. Also, this poor tank. Probably send the 2 health infantry over here to lock it down. Make sure it can't move around. Standing on the mountain kind of makes sense too if you want the vision, but if you're going to do that, you'd usually do it at the start of the turn so you can use the vision. Although everyone makes the mistake of doing it at the end. I would probably retreat here for Vault 94. Yeah, killing off the recon's nice. Oh, some more copters. Triple copter over here. They be feasting. There's no... I can't reach. There's no recon on this front for InuTheTengu, which makes this kind of hard to attack. I'm not sure if you'd really want to attack into it anyway. Like, sure, a tank could kill this artillery and this tank hits to deny the comm tower, but then you just get pummeled by triple copter. Maybe you don't. Maybe it's fine because the double anti-air are coming in. Okay. If that's the case, then how do you even see this? I don't think you can you? Yeah. 1, 2, 3 lets you see this infantry. Doesn't let you see this. This artillery cannot move up in range to stare at the artillery. The infantry can't get in range. This one can't either. Oh no, InuTheTengu has a power, so the artillery can make it. It's kind of funny. So if InuTheTengu gets the super, then the artillery can move to here, which will spot this artillery, and then the tank can smack it, and then the tank can interrupt the comm tower, and the 2 anti-airs get in range. Oh, you're right. It's way better if InuTheTengu just steps onto the mountain. That's way better. Doesn't look like we're using the super, so... Oh, never mind, we're not going for it. Okay. I'm not sure why this tank went down here. I thought I might go in the woods, smack this guy. Be fine. Even going up and, like, repairing on the city would be fine. I mean, sending the artillery in isn't that bad. It's also in position, right? Because it stands here, there's a tank here, there's a tank here. It's fine. Ooh. Oh, we sent an anti-air down. I would send them both over to the right because we've seen triple copter revealed. Vault 94, insanely aggressive with these copters. But the anti-air going down is going to find some targets. Although a power might get used, it just comes back this way anyway. Actually, I guess the power's not good enough. Huh? Never mind. InuTheTengu's still up 4k. You do the turbocharge, which is the normal power. Smack. I do like the artillery placed here. Chilling out in these woods, overlooking whatever would go out to the city. Some pretty good attacks here. The anti-air can't reach anything over here, so I assume it's going to go down. No, it came back up. Yeah, it's probably better to just build a new anti-air rather than like go down and go back up. I guess a new anti-air doesn't actually cover this anti-air, but not really moving too far out of your base range at this point, so I think that would be okay. Alt 94 does get the shot on the anti-air. Fortunately, this is, I mean, the infantry did hit this artillery, so it's down to 6. It doesn't do too much damage. And it can just kind of repair up to a really strong health. Another copter versus copter strike. Looking good for Vault 94 there. Some captures going on. All the copters zoom away to safety. I do approve. The recon strike, anti-air strike. Okay, that's cute. The artillery from across this little ocean tile can lock down this city. Okay, transport all the infantry. This is the 86 fuel. I think the APC should probably just like go back here to pick up this infantry instead. Down goes the tank. Pretty good buff. We'll see how gutsy Vault 94 is. Because I would expect there to be... Well, I guess the reasoning can be if they had an anti-air, they'd probably build it from here. First turn it moves to here, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it can move to there. Since I don't see it in this kind of vision, it probably doesn't exist. It's either that or it would like go into the forest though. And going into the forest with the anti-air does seem like a reasonable thing for me to do. So, well, if Vault 94 was thinking like that, you could take this infantry, move it here, check to see if there's an anti-air here. If there isn't, then you can send your copters like for free down here. Do damage. That's not happening, but it's still very gutsy to do this. You'd expect the anti-airs to be on their way. I'm not sure what that 7 helicopters plan was. Block rock? There's only a copter, tank, and a couple infantry left. That might have been a misclick. Or maybe it's there just for the defense. And the extra firepower on the planes from the counterattacks. Smack. Here comes the anti-airs. Let's have the medium tank over here. I think this artillery should be known about. With a nice clear. Ooh. Recon goes up here so it doesn't get to spot this copter. Tank spots the artillery. Medium tank takes it out. Anti-air goes to just clear the city. Is that even getting captured? It is getting captured. Okay. Still not great to have it on the front lines, but there's 3 anti-air here, so it's probably okay, even if 2 go down. And only 1 should. I'm not sure that Vault 94 is watching the replays, because it'd be very weird to put that infantry on that city. So yeah, that anti-air does go down. There's a medium tank here though, so it's a little weird to go quite so ham. Neo tank. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Where'd it go here? Well, if you want to go into the center, going into the woods makes more sense. Otherwise, going here makes more sense because you don't want to have to go through these woods on the next turn. Like right now, it's Neo tank. Unfortunately, is stuck to go through woods either way. It's the future. Why is this tank so sneaky? You can see everything over here. Boost? We got the boost. The boosting's been real. Okay, tank used for scouting. Fine-ish. Kill that off. That's nice. Oh, but the medium tank can't hit the tank. That's okay. Still looking nice up here. So 2 anti-airs, that's probably okay. Building a third one next turn might be the way to go, since the opponent's been shown to be very copter heavy, but maybe not, because we do have a wave of tanks coming in. Although, I mean, anti-airs are weak to tanks, but they're not the worst thing against tanks, for sure. As long as you have other things. I would still build a third one. You really don't want to get hit with those unit composition wins. Overdrive. We do have one. No, I got 2 recons, so we're going to get the C stuff. And the infantry goes there. Smack. Neo tank comes down, kills the 4 health tank. But now it's covering all this, which is nice. The copter. Anti-air is a nice little combination there. Why does artillery move down here? There's that infantry. It does mean this anti-air is no longer covering these units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A little weird. But it is safer back there. InuTheTengu is still with a nice income lead. 1k up. Vault 94. Falling back a bit. Does hit the anti-air, but it lives. That's the opposite of falling back. Like, it's falling back with the copter going forward with the tanks. Okay. Back down goes the tank. Copter gets trapped. That's just something you want to watch the replays for. Infantry survived at 1. Neo tank dives on in with the medium tank. That's probably okay. Assuming that they built a reaction to the Neo tank on that turn is not going to be there in time. It's not like the medium tank died. Did you decide what your game plan is after the early game? Oh, he does have 3 towers. I didn't even notice that. 1, 2, 3. So usually I actually have my game plan decided before the game starts. And the early game is leading up to the game plan that's going to probably be enacted in the mid game. I guess my advice for that is that you start planning earlier so that you set yourself up for success. Because it is definitely difficult to just have a blank or have a capture phase completed and then be like, so what do I want to do in this game? Okay, so the tank's attacking the Neo is definitely a little weird. It kind of conceals that the bomber's coming, I guess. The idea being like, if I had an answer for the Neo tank, there's no way I would attack it with these tanks. They did a decent amount of damage, though. You're not attacking on the planes. I guess this could also just trap this Neo tank. I mean, probably just wreck that medium tank. Anti-air snipes a copter, looking good. This is probably a copter plus anti-air kill here. Or at least potentially. We're not going to, though. I guess it's probably better to go like this. Anyway, this is covered by another copter and tanks. Or you could do like that too. Fine. Tank falls back a tiny bit, clears off the city. I'm okay with that. Definitely approve of falling back if things are starting to look spicy. Try and get that nice reinforcement advantage. Okay. Interrupts the capture with the tank. 5 health. At 5 health, a tank can definitely be attacked by an anti-air. You gotta keep that in mind. The anti-airs still deal a decent amount of damage to tanks. Well, in this case, the anti-air has a much better target. Like a bit of a front switch going on. I am a fan of those. Here we go. Kill the copter. Definitely bring another anti-air over when the copter, or when the anti-air is very exposed like that. It is on a missile platform, but it's at the very front. Ooh. InuTheTengu going for the... Ooh, nice kill on that tank. Very good. I mean, the recon would have liked to go in here earlier just to see what everything was, but still great kill on the tank. We have the comm tower starting to get captured here. Vault 94 has actually taken the income lead. We're way down in unit count. The bomber goes for the hit on the anti-air. Doesn't quite kill it because it's on a missile platform, but really close. Fortunately for Vault 94, there's no anti-air covering this right now. There was one built though, so that's really good. Yeah, definitely get the capture going. And the anti-air survives, so it's good to go back to repair. Neo tank goes forward. It's a little bit gutsy, but probably okay. It's like the bomber can hit me, but there's an anti-air ready. Hiding out in the woods, very safe spot for in the woods too. Vault 94 kind of has to retreat again. I mean, this is fine. Yeah, this is like retreat and attack the things closer to you. This doesn't look quite so safe. Oh, does the Neo tank go down? No, the 1 health tank doesn't even try. Tank first strike. The Jake extra power and everything. But now InuTheTengu is tied with 2 comm towers to 2, so they both have plus 30% firepower on their vehicles if they're attacking from the planes. Jess gets plus 30% vehicle damage, period. Yeah, looks like everything's getting cleaned up at the bottom. Nicely done. We got another chance at the comm tower. I like that the comm tower captures have been pretty much not forced. It wasn't like a huge overextension to go for the comm towers. It was always like a half. an established position here. I'm holding the ground, and now I'll go for the comm tower. Sometimes people will just dive in and overextend and get wiped out. Patience is a virtue for sure. And it also forces, of course, vehicles to strike here. Neo tank. We have 2 copters. Like, it's just, we have 2 copters that can reach. Things are looking mighty good. InuTheTengu. Killed off the recon, but I'm going to trade 2 units for it. Ooh! Bomber! Goes in to kill an infantry. This is more of the overextend, go for the comm tower, die kind of situation that InuTheTengu was avoiding. We do have the overdrive. Jake Supa. Or not Jake, Jess Supa. Tank. Down goes the anti-air. I would, if you really want to kill that infantry, it's not super critical to do so, but I probably wouldn't do it in range the artillery like that. Maybe you can try and go for the woods, even though it's like a chance you'll get trapped. If you're trapped over here, that's fine. And even though actually I don't think there is a chance you get trapped, right? Yeah, he had vision over all this stuff, so should be known. Pop goes the bomber. And with the bomber dying, that's probably a good game. He gets cleared. Tank is cut off. Can't escape. You have the block rock. Copter goes in, gets the copter kill. Kill a tank, kill an infantry. Not much more that can be done, and Vault 94 resigns. GG. InuTheTengu with the comeback. Well, not quite a comeback, I guess. There was an early trade of like Vault 94 had both these comm towers, but InuTheTengu was up by a lot of money. But it still felt like a comeback because Vault 94 was so aggressive. Show the kill to death. Kill to death. It's not so well. So looks like Vault 94 lost 9 more units and 34,000 more value. So there's those 9 units like vehicles. Even more than that, I guess, because... Oh, no. 5 of them were infantry, so 4 of them were vehicles. And InuTheTengu made a lot more money. 30,000 more funds. GG, well played. There's a really good front shifting there from Vault 94. Maybe a tad aggressive. Naberius Buster versus Havits. Did I do this game already? I don't think I did this game. I think I heard about this game. Little old you came back against a 3-tower Jake. Yeah. Lucky you. Okay. So for those of you who don't know, in Smacky Cup 2, is it? I convinced convinced the tournament admins to put Grit in tier 4 on this map. Havits didn't believe me. Was shocked that that Grit would be so low. And so this game was a showcase of Havits trying to break Grit on this map. And Naberius Buster is going to be the Jess opponent here. I'll make habits into Yellow Comet. So I can see why initially you could look at this map and think it's going to be amazing for Grit, because there's this huge circle of forests. And anyone that's played the original games knows that fighting against Grit, well, he's got like in the fog, and he's got all of his indirects in the woods. It's a nightmare. But the problem about that when you're actually playing a competitive game is that the woods slow you down a lot to move your artillery in there. It's not pre-deployed like the campaigns. And when you're in the woods with those indirects, you cover very little substance. You can like defend your comm tower very well, and you can kind of lock some of these fringe cities, but you'll end up giving up the majority of the properties because you just can't leave your forest domain if that's the way you want to play it, and then you'll just fall way behind. If you go out into the center, it's it's very dangerous for artillery. There's a few really nice forests, so at the early game your artillery might get some stuff done, but one of the weaknesses is that it's an open terrain with just a few mountains around. So it's very easy for your opponent to figure out where your artillery are if you don't have enough tanks to dissuade them, or strong enough tanks because you're Grit. So when you're going out into the center, which is where you kind of ideally be with Grit, to maximize the amount of surface area you can cover with your artillery, you're in a really dangerous area. You have only a few hiding spots. It's fairly open, and your opponent can get really good vision over your units and figure out a way to strike you down. You're a few minutes behind. You can always skip ahead. The capture phase is pretty long, and this is also a quad tower map, so 2 towers per player. Grit doesn't really care that much about getting more comm towers on his artillery. He doesn't quite one-shot everything, but it's close to that. But he cares a lot about the opponent not having extra firepower so that Grit's units don't get one-shot. He really needs to have stuff survive because artillery have absolutely garbage vision. They need the support units so that they can actually fire on stuff. If all of your units, if you have like 5 artillery left, but you don't have any infantry or tanks left because they all got annihilated by a Jess super with like a double comm tower Jess super, then you're just going to lose regardless of how many artillery you have. They can't see the targets. There is... What about his AA? Grit does have also... Grit doesn't have normal firepower directs. Or indirects. Oh, you mean when you have double tower, Grit has normal direct combat. Yeah. In team games, Sonya plus Grit is a solid combo of Doom. Yes. In team games, and especially in Fog of War, Sonya and Grit are going to be amazing, but that's different. Chat plus Go7, choose a high funds tier 3 CO for you. Andy's tier 2. Kindle. No, Rachel. It would be very funny to get your... It would be very funny to have cheeky recons running along the shoals, and then have your artillery also running along in like the shoals and hop in the woods and try and lock the opponent's bases. That's a very long-term investment that's going to cost you in the game. But anyway, this game is going to be Habits trying to prove me wrong that it's not okay to have Grit in tier 4 and Fog on this map in particular. So what this means is the Habits has kind of, from my understanding at least, I'll submit to the Kindle High Mind. Rachel. Lash is tier 4 in High Funds. It was played during the tournament. So what this means is Havitz has looked at this map and studied up to come up with an opening with grit specifically for this match. And we'll see what Havitz has cooked up. Looks like we're going for recon first, a delayed recon first. Naberius Buster going with a recon straight up the center. There's a few choices as to where you'd want to send your recon. You can send it straight up the center. You can send it straight up this side and be really annoying, interrupting captures up here while center fighting's happening. It is also true that Grit is someone that you can oftentimes interrupt the early game captures. Fortunately, Havitz did not reveal this this recon to this recon. If that had happened, then this would have been basically a free attack because there wouldn't be Havitz would not be able to have an artillery in place. Like if this artillery was built to turn earlier, it could be right here, and then it would actually be covering this capture, and then the recon couldn't attack. But because this recon was hidden, the Naberius Buster didn't see that. And assumed this was covered. This recon will get some good vision, but it's not really that safe. Okay. Havitz moving out into the center. First artillery into tank. So when you're playing Grit in Fog, it's really awkward because you want to build a lot of artillery because you're Grit and they're your good units. But your opponent can oftentimes run you over if you have nothing but artillery. So you can open recon first like this. I personally think you can either open 1 artillery and then like 3 tanks or something like that, so that your tanks can deal with the opposing recons that are probably going to try and harass your harass your capture phase just because you're kind of slow for defending. And then when your tanks get into fights, the idea is that your 1 artillery is just kind of around at a distance. So their tank hits your tank and then your artillery kills their tank. And you're like, sure, my tank exchanges aren't amazing, but my tanks can still fight your recons. And then my few number of artillery can still win my tank fights for me. And then you can start ramping up your indirect numbers from there. So it looks like to be kind of a similar thing for what Havitz is doing right now. Haven't really seen too much when the Naberius Buster is going recon tank. So that's kind of what you would expect. Trying to find little captures that can be picked off by the recons or slowed down by the recons. Looks like we're slightly more aggressive in the capture pattern here, or capture routes here for Naberius Buster. Already got this capture going on, a little bit behind when it comes to income, but that's going to be offset when these get captured. If you don't know, you can go about your capture route in whatever way you want, and as long as all of your infantry are going for captures that they actually get, you'll end up with the same amount of funds gained than if you just kind of go for the immediate captures and circle out, which is like the standard opening is you go for all of the closest captures as soon as possible, and then you go the next ring out and the next ring out, that kind of thing. We recommend that as the standard opening because that gives you the most money right up front so that you can build tanks right away and make sure you don't die. But if you don't want to do that and instead you want to go for what we call city skips, just kind of walk by cities that you could capture and to go for more forward cities, you're not costing yourself any money in the long run, assuming you're not cannibalizing any captures and making it so your infantry can't capture as efficiently, because while you are missing out on the income of that city, you do end up getting another city turns earlier, and that will start to offset the missed out income. and it will just be the same. It can end up being better or worse depending on what happens to your infantry that are forward. If your forward infantry end up capturing contested properties, and then that means you get to hold those contested properties throughout the entire game uncontested, then that's going to be a huge plus to your economy having done that. But if you go up, you take a city, and then they just come over, kill off your infantry, and take that city back, then obviously that's really, really bad. So it can be definitely a balancing act. You also have to keep in mind that when you go for those city skips, for those more forward aggressive captures, that does hurt your immediate income. So you're going to have fewer potential vehicles, and you won't want to be picking any fights. And ideally, you'll be going for captures that don't require fighting. But it's just good to know that while the standard opening that we kind of suggest does seem very strict, you don't have to follow that, and you can go for some very wild openings that will, in the long term, be the exact same in the number of funds gained. Like, if you want to not go for any of these cities right away, and instead you're like, I want to send my infantry straight down here, and I'm going to capture this city, and I'm going to capture that city, and then you're also capturing these cities in the meantime, that would give you the exact same amount of money as if you go for these cities and then you go down for these cities. It's just that in the long run, I mean. But in the short term, you're going to be hurting really badly because you won't have these cities yet. If that makes any sense. There's just a lot of freedom in how you want to go about your capture phase. And if you start watching the really top level, I guess, creative players, you'll see how wild it can get. LVJD was famous for that in Standard, going for absolutely insane looking capture routes, but of course they're going to be totally fine because of how that works out economically. It looks like right here, Naberius Buster has zeroed in on where Habits has the cluster of units, and you can kind of see how defensive Grit has to be right now. It does hurt your early vehicle timings. You have to be very confident that you're not going to die. So Grit doesn't have... This is what I meant with, like, it's dangerous out in the open, right? Like, look how defensive Habits has to be with this artillery, because these tanks cannot cover this very well. If two tanks come in, and they, like, smack the artillery, smack the tank, they don't really care if the Grit tanks hit them. And right now, Naberius Buster is forming a concave around these units, as we would say. Yeah, and then the units have to fall back. So it looks like Havitz's plan here is that it's way too dangerous to try and capture these cities as Grit, because the artillery have to be up to this spot, kind of sitting out in the plains without great tiles to defend them. So if it's just a tile back, it's on the road, but one of the tiles that can defend it is a city, which is nice. And it can, from here, it can just kind of deny the city is the plan. Is what it looks like, at least to me. And so far, Naberius Buster hasn't actually gone for any of the interrupts. There's been quite a few, maybe not quite a few, but there's been a few potential interrupts that these early game recons could go for, and that's why you would build those early game recons, is to go for the interrupts on captures like that. Although at this point it's not really early game. That recon got some decent information. It did spot this copter, and Grit does like building copters, even though these copters are pretty weak. I mean, they're against just copters, so they're only a tiny bit weaker. But as I was saying before, early on, Grit really needs units alive so that the indirects can spot stuff to fire at. So you often see Grit be very active with the airports because that will increase the unit count, and that's more stuff that can spot, as well as they're both pretty decent against tanks, which are a frequent foe. In High Funds Fog, when that league was running, it might be a little too early to go for triple artillery. I think double artillery is fine. I wouldn't build one from this base though, because it's just kind of awful for the artillery's transportation. I think I'd build a recon most likely, because the vision is just so important. But anyway, back in when the High Funds Fog League was running, and there was some Grit players in that, the way they would do it is they would just build a ton of transport copters out of their airports because it's the cheapest air unit, and there's decent blockers, and that would be the scouts for all of the indirects. So far I do like Havitz's approach here. It does have to be very conservative, but the dream is, of course, that you're able to build up a gigantic artillery ball. And this is why I was saying, like, I don't think you'd build an artillery out of this space, because it kind of takes 2 turns to move a shorter distance than the artillery does from this base in 1 turn. Just build other units instead. Like if this was an infantry build, then we could have had an artillery over here. Okay, smack. The concave is definitely good. I mean, the concave says, yeah. The concave says you have to have more units as walls, and if you move forward, I can just kind of wipe out all the walls. Concaves are very good. They're kind of hard to get to pull off in Advanced Wars by Web, but they can be really strong. Okay, things have been relatively peaceful. We're starting to have some ninja units. You can see though, this is why that ring of forests, it's really not that much of a concern for Grit. Where are all of Grit's artillery? They're not hiding out in forests even. They're just kind of trying to stay on the fringe as much as they can of the center. Now in theory, Grit is totally fine splitting the map 50-50. Although it's not getting split 50-50. It looks like Naberius Buster is going to get... Okay. Gets this one so far, at least. I mean, Habits could probably take this. Tries to take this one. Artillery gets spotted. Gets smacked. Vehicles start rolling in. And that's the danger that the Grit artillery have. The retaliation attacks over here are kind of nasty, and artillery are really bad at reinforcing each other. So if any one front starts to do poorly, it can kind of snowball really fast. We'll see if that's what's going to happen here. It looks like it probably is, because the copter's going to die. And you can see this is Grit. This is Grit trying to use the standing army to reinforce a front. Not reinforcing. He is reinforcing because it's a tank. He is reinforcing because it's a copter. These are both weaker because they're Grit. Artillery, they're stronger because they're Grit. They do not get to reinforce. But instead, they're now very heavily in the center. The attack over here has kind of been given up on, I guess. Or maybe there's going to be a new angle. It's going to try and go through the woods. It's going to take forever. Down goes the copter. Recon sneaking around. Down goes this recon. Go for the capture. Trying to kill off the artillery guy. Just probably, yeah, hit this. Even kills the artillery. Go for the capture of the full health infantry. Very nice. And you can see how much easier it is for Naberius Buster to get the reinforcements over here. If this was an artillery, it'd be further back, and it wouldn't be able to interact with anything. The tank gets to go further forward, and it gets to move and attack. It's very nice. This artillery does actually get to do something. It's actually defending this city. It's not a great situation that the artillery has to defend that city, but it can do that. Fred is all alone. There he is. Recon lives. The copter right here. Okay, double tank. Double copter does kill the tank. We do have double comm tower for grit. The artillery is not actually covering the tank without a power. This is how it goes. Okay, so it took 2 turns. Habits is basically over here now with artillery for this front. But now the other front looks very weak, and it's just going to kind of get out. It can get outpaced if an attack starts over here. These units can easily move over and still threaten. I wouldn't attack with the anti-air from there. I guess in this case, the Naberius Buster is thinking I'll use this copter to hit this copter. But I'd prefer to have the anti-air as full back, as far back as possible. Okay, so these infantry started attacking. I would like to have one. I'm not a huge fan of these guys attacking into here, just because what's Grit been doing this whole time? They must have been sending stuff, their indirects over here, so you don't really want to give them targets. Fred lives. Instead, I would just focus on taking these cities. Anytime you can make Grit have to come to you, things are going to be really nice. Fred gets hit, but Fred lives. Start falling back. We do have 2 anti-airs here, so it's not that big of a deal if this goes down. It's already killed 2 copters after all. No powers have been used. So at this point, they're both going to be overcharging themselves, but Grit has kind of a worse situation if we're in the super phase, because Grit's normal power is pretty nice. It gives extra firepower. I think another plus 20% firepower on indirects and another plus 1 range for 3 bars. And then the super does just the same firepower, so plus 20% firepower and plus 2 range. So usually for Grit, you go normal powers only, unless you're like the extra plus 2, the plus 2 instead of the plus 1 is really that impactful. So that means that when you're just at the normal power amount of charge, the combat field looks a lot prettier for Grit, because his normal power is pretty good for a normal power. But his super is really bad for a super. So if the opponent's got a normal power, you got a normal power as Grit, you're looking okay. You're like, okay, my normal power is good against theirs. Yeah. But when you hit your super and they get their super's just like leaps and bounds better than yours. And that can be very bad. So yeah, the units that went towards the Grit army kind of got annihilated, as you would expect, and then it's going to try and just creep forward. Like a really, really slow death ball. but because it's so slow moving, you can kind of get like, again, we're having like a concave sort of form here, and it's always going to be susceptible to being wiped out by, in this case, a Jess super. As it has to inch closer and closer to the center in order for the artillery to still cover everything. There's one nice forest to hang out in. Do have this captured. The entire vehicle force for habits is all being used to go for this one capture. And it looks like it's going to get denied. We're not using a Jess super. This is going to be cost effective because these units go up and they kind of get blasted. Where's Fred? Fred died? Fred's right here? Oh my gosh, Fred. Fred healed up and is standing right on the front lines. The most veteran of soldiers. And this is why Fred's the vet. He's not the one going for the capture. He's like, I'll stand next to the capture, next to this mountain. Okay. Like this city is most likely going to get captured. Just because, I mean, it's a grit force. It has a hard time moving. So we go snipe attack. There's the normal power. Pop, pop, kill recons. It does give +10/+10 stats as well, of course, because it's a power. And Grit's like, or Habits is realizing, oh, I do need to have something over here just in case Naberius Buster shows up and goes for the comm tower. And this is the comm tower that you would expect Grit to be pretty good at defending. And you know, if I was going to be a part of this wall, I would also want to be that one. The one that there's already someone in the forest helping protect me. Oh, never mind. I no longer want to be that one. Maybe it's still safest. Okay. Capture continues. We do have the normal power for the extra defense. Drop off with the 1 health infantry. It does. This is what I was saying. It's kind of scary. You can't really position your army into the center in a place that your opponent can't just spot it with an infantry. All right, you can interrupt the capture. Looks like some more positional shenanigans. Copter got trapped. I'm not quite sure what that copter is trying to do. You don't have to be quite so scared as with the Jess army here, because it's not very likely that the Grit army is going to come out and hit you. So you can get pretty close to the Grit wall. Copter, no! Still have 2k up for Naberius Buster. Just trying to find the attack, it looks like. Besides, this is it. We have the overdrive. These tanks are in kind of a weird spot. I don't know why this tank is way over here. Get infantry one-shots. Tank one-shots. Infantry gets a one-shot there. That one. Down this guy goes. In comes the tank. Hits the artillery. Clear the city. Hit the tank. Clear the tank. Clear the infantry. that was a pretty expensive infantry to clear. If those guys didn't have a better target, then I don't know. But yeah, this is what happens. Oftentimes to poor Grit, the hole gets drilled, and then the artillery at the squishy center. And then Habits resigns. GG. Grit is really tough to play. A very nice setup by Naberius Buster. It was some of the positioning was a little weird, but the concave setup was very good. Strike from every side, wipe everything out. GG. That's true. Grit would not want to fight Rachel. The artillery of the rich, creamy nougat center. Nougat. So as Grit on this map, I think you can try and like deny cities if you want, but you have to have your forces a little bit more spread out. Because there's pretty much 3 fronts to be attacked on, and you can't really expect to use the Grit force on all 3. It's really tough. It's really tough. Rockets. Yeah, I've had the most success with Grit being semi-aggressive. Just really low numbers of artillery, and try and keep the engagement small, because when the engagements get big like this, the breakthrough is almost inevitable, and then you get cleared out. But I don't like playing Grit and Fog. The chat made me do it a lot. Maybe not a lot, but a few times. Several times. Alright, we got Inlandemperor. Wow, Inlandemperor. Oh, Inlandemperor. I don't know how many people have played Disco Elysium. That is a great game. Would recommend. It felt like a spiritual successor to what I remember Planescape Torment being like. Very fun writing. But in that game, one of the stats that you can get is Inland Empire, I think. Chat. Back in the days when I had my alt, but don't make me get my main alt. Oh, Grit loves a joke. Grit's a lot better in standard. I mean, he's always banned at standard, but wow. Okay, so we have Sami, Fog Sami against Von Bolt. That's a tough matchup. It's not as bad as High Fun Sami against Von Bolt, which I feel like is almost impossible. But it's close, because Sami and Fog is really bad. Like, sometimes bottom of tier 4, sometimes bottom of tier 3. And this map has been changed, so you have 2 black boats. So you always have 1 black boat on your HQ, so you don't have like a Sami easy HQ game. You kind of want to avoid fighting against Von Bolt. Okay, this is the low. Okay, this just not reach though. Is that fine? Okay, this can't reach. Okay. The Sami one can reach, so Sami does have that advantage. Sami gets to use the black boat first. Sami's not going to. Okay, well, if if you can get down here in 1 turn like this as Sami, This base is going to be in charge of going for the neutral base. Hop in with this one. Because now if the Black Wolf just sits there a turn, you lose the advantage. Okay. So usually you prioritize. In this case, Sami's going for the airport really quickly. But I would, for both these players, I would delay the airport captures. It's not really something you want to invest in right now. But usually you want to start going for these forward captures with the boat pretty early over the backwards captures, just because you're going to be able to get those backwards captures whenever, and you'll probably even get them with infantry that you're building when the boat's not there. And you want to start getting these forward captures while they're still uncontested, and get as many as possible. So ideally, if you get dropped off early, your infantry is able to get like 2, maybe even 3 captures. If you get dropped off late, then oftentimes you can get like 1 capture, and then the opposing recons or tanks start showing up. So we go for the fast transport copter out of this airport. We get the double unload. I feel like there's a better spot to unload, but I guess there isn't anymore. There used to be, when these weren't bridges, there was much better spots to unload. But I guess now this is kind of as good as you get. But yeah. So if there was an infantry over here like 2 turns ago, it'd be already have a city before the recon shows up. That Naberius. T-copter. It's a little weird to go for a T-copter opening when the black boat wasn't being used. It's like a free transport. It does accelerate the capture this way, so it could be that Inlandemperor is thinking, I'm just gonna sack this front and all in this front with my infantry, fully anticipating that the Blonkers vehicles would just be too much to overcome, which is possible. But still, I would, even in that case, I would still go for early captures over here and then go hide in the woods somewhere. I would probably go here and drop off the infantry. The problem with going here and dropping off the infantry is now this transport copter doesn't actually have someone to pick up. If it's here and drops off the infantry can still go for this capture, which I think is the idea. And then this infantry can hop in. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You can drop off here. You can drop off on this mountain. You have some very nice early aggressive infantry. Ooh. Wow. Well, if I'm Von Bolt, I would hit this infantry all day, every day. The the capture will still go through, but then you get to kill off a Sami infantry. And once Sami's all out of infantry, she's no longer super. If everyone's super, no one will be. No, if Sami has no infantry, she's a purely negative CO. Her only bonuses are to foot soldiers and transport movement, both in her day-to-day and her powers. So killing them off can be a really big deal. The early game is when the infantry are going to be the most built, because that's kind of all you have to build at that point. But in the late and mid game, especially the late game, there can be a lot of pressure put on with vehicles, and Sami kind of has to respond with vehicles to not die. and just rely on the majority of the infantry that were built earlier on in the game to make her day-to-day and her super not, or her day-to-day and her powers still relevant. So killing off those early game infantry can be a really big deal. Beer is bad. And when you play Sami and Fog, that's something you're going to start realizing very quickly, where when you're comparing like the games you do well in and the games you do poorly in, you're like, well, the games I did poorly in, I actually used my infantry to fight early on. This is only in Fog, really. But I used my infantry to go for fights early on, and I would trade them out, maybe a little bit positive, but they'd effectively get traded out for infantry against vehicles and infantry. And then I would hit the mid-game. I would get one good victory march off, and the victory march would be amazing. I'd use all of my infantry. I'd capture like 7 of their cities. I'd be up 14k. I'd almost win by capture. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm making so much money. And then the next turn, I lost all of my infantry. And in 3 turns, I lost all of the cities I captured. And even though I was sitting there pumping out Neo tanks every turn, it just didn't matter. My standing army was gone. And it takes way too long for the income that you get from the victory march to matter on the front lines. So you end up just losing all your front lines while having very pricey reinforcements that can do nothing against artillery. Artillery in a superior unit count. And then you're like, oh, but the Sami game where I did so little infantry fighting, I was just treating my precious little boys like the angels they were, and then I could get a modest victory march where maybe I took like 3 cities that were safe and I could defend them, and then that meant I got another victory march later on that maybe could go for the HQ because I could actually hold on to the income lead and that kind of thing. It's just interesting. The flashy play oftentimes will get Sami in trouble, but I do like the concentration of forces here, especially bringing in more artillery. This is kind of the go-to when you're fighting against Von Bolt, usually like as Sasha, but also especially as Sami, because the artillery, they don't actually get the negative firepower, and they do enough damage that the plus 10% defense that these tanks have that Von Bolt has, it's not too much to overcome anymore. Artillery just hit really hard. And the same thing goes for when you're playing Sami and you're like, oh, it's really hard for them to interrupt my captures. So I'll just go for these really forward contested captures, and you'll get those captures. The recon will come in, it will hit you, and then you'll finish the capture, and then the recon will finish you off, and then in 3 turns, they'll have an infantry come over and just take the city from you. And you'll be down in infantry in order to get a city for like 3 turns. The long-term plays just do not work out. I do love how cautious, though, Inlandemperor is being here. Might have to invest more. Blackbot's going to have to if you will. But probably want to invest a little bit more in the indirects on this front. But I love this is like a catch-all composition here. Now, I think Sami's like, I can't win this fight in a long game, is actually trying to all in Von Bolt. Which honestly makes a lot of sense. Because the Von Bolt units can just kind of tear Sami apart. This is something that happens a lot. You get the capture, they kill your infantry, they take your city. But right here, what Sammy's trying to do is get these artillery over here to these woods and kill off this HQ, and is just going to invest everything in doing that. Which I think has to be the play. The recon over here is going to be a complete menace, and these cities are going to start flipping soon. So a few things you can do on this map when you're like, oh, my opponent is completely all-inning me here. You can try and grab a battleship. Because when you build the battleship, sure, it's insanely expensive, but it does impact the fight immediately. 6 range from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It hits all this. It guards a bunch of cities, and it hits anything that's going after the HQ. The other thing you can do, if you're like, I need to defend quickly in a way that's really hard for my opponent to answer, is you can build a stealth. The stealth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stealths. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It can hit after 1 turn of movement and stealthing, which it has to spend a turn stealthing anyway. It can immediately impact the HQ fight, and it can stand on the HQ, and if they don't have a fighter, they can't get past it. You also have a black boat around here already, so it can refuel the stealth. But these are like the pricey answers. But if you detect, that's like you detect that there's an HQ rush about to happen, and you have a few turns to prepare. That's the kind of thing you'd want to save up and do. Because sometimes you'll be like, oh no, it's coming. I'm going to build a bunch of tanks. But the tank route to get down here is actually kind of slow. So it can oftentimes be better to be like, I'm actually going to save up my cash, build a battleship. I'm going to save up my cash, build a stealth that goes here, and then it stands on the HQ and keeps me alive long enough. Yeah, the fighter is 1 tile away. It can't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, the fighter can't go build fighter stand on HQ, and your opponent usually has anti-airs anyway. They don't usually have a fighter with them. If they foresee that you're going to build a stealth and they have a fighter, then you are in a lot of trouble, but they were very gutsy to do that because they do have to win the ground war in order to get to the HQ, and a stealth, while it does make an amazing blocker, it doesn't do too much more on the ground. I don't know why this copter ran so far forward, but it's probably fine. It looks like Sami might be abandoning the HQ attempt, because we do have some units starting to move up here. And Blonkers was doing a good job of just using the few units that were left over here to go for all these captures. The recon's like, oh look, an infantry bop. Oh look, an infantry bop. Infantry start going down. Tank smack, yeah, that's the danger of having the copter there. Looks like this capture, I guess it doesn't have to go through. It could go copter tank clear this, but it's a little gutsy. We might see the tank go into the woods to try and dodge the artillery. Currently there's nothing targeting the HQ. That is what we see. And looks like we're also going to just use copters, which is also fine. They get there quickly. Okay. Ooh. A little bit danger zone here for Blonkers. There's actually only 1 tank left. Oh, there's 2. There's 1 here. It's a little in the corner. And this one. And so you can't defend with only copters, because your opponent's definitely going to anticipate that and bring some anti-airs. If we capture the comm tower first. Whoop, beep. That's great to do with 1 health infantry, because you're like, I don't really care if the 1 health infantry gets trapped on the city. Ooh, taking the harbor is pretty juicy. So here we get 7k up. No, 6k up. No, 8k up. Wow, I can do math. Don't worry. We're going 8k up as Sami. These captures might hold because Sami has most of the forces here. This one's probably not going to hold. I doubt this comm tower will hold. Ooh, we kind of went in for the mech. We'll see how many of Sami's units go down here. Ooh, we had a nice Sami. What was that? Okay, so we have a nice Sami magnet built here. Did the visual show up over here? Well, these guys aren't stunned. And gets tagged. I'm not sure what's up with this tank. Definitely need some more units down here. The standing army for Sami is still looking pretty decent. That recon kind of sacrificing itself into that mech for some reason was definitely really good for Sami. The anti-air getting so much value. There's actually only one left here, but there's nothing but copters defending. Ooh, the mech lives at 1. So the harbor's gonna fall. We kind of can't reach there. We do have the artillery set up in the woods here. That's pretty cheeky. Ooh, Blonkers didn't... Wow. Well, Blonkers definitely should have started capturing that harbor rather than go after the 1 health infantry. Okay. Looks like the comm tower is going to stick for now. The artillery are getting to fire on the HQ. Double time from Sami. The mech. Oh, so the mech can hit the tank. Okay. Ooh, and then we have the Sami fighter. All in's about to start. So the fighter does get there pretty quick because it moves 9. It still takes 3 turns. I'd probably be fine with just getting an anti-air though. Or another anti-air. It depends. It's also a nice blocker. I did say that stealths are kind of a go-to, but Blonkers is down to 15k. It would be really unfortunate if the fighter shows up and the ground army just defended. Yeah, I like the... I think I do prefer something being built from this harbor. You could definitely do battleship. You could even be super spicy if you were confident enough. You go like carrier. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You would need to go sub and then carrier because you have to be able to spot the airport. I like how neither transport copter managed to get their city. At this point, you'd probably grab your city on the island. Wow, didn't join cap this. You have the tank on the way. Inlandemperor is way ahead in unit value. Down goes the black boat. There's a full health infantry in range. We got bomber, we got fighter. The black boat got off the HQ to Drop off some units. It looks like it's gonna be GG. Oh, double time. Fire gets a kill. Got the value. Starts the capture on the HQ. Unstoppable. GG, it's over. I loved the that all in from Inlandemperor ended up being really good. And I think Blonkers was definitely doing well at the top. Like getting these cities was really good. Just like using the small force that was there to try and punish the all in. And then I'm not 100% sure how this one went quite so poorly. I know Blonkers ran out of tanks and then the copters kept getting shot off by a single anti-air. What are these suggestions? High funds talk is what it is. Just build a sub and dive. Uncappable port. It's true. It's true. I think I've built a carrier in standard. I've seen carriers built in standard. Not so much in fog. Maybe I have. GG. Well played. Huge upset for Sami to win this. Sub battleship then carrier? Now you go sub carrier then battleship because answering with the Air Force is probably their first go-to. Subs have 5 vision, yeah. They're the recon of the sea. They only cost 5 times as much as the recon of the land. GG, well played, well played. I hope everyone enjoyed. It's going to be the end of the stream for today. So thanks for watching. Have a good night. See you on Wednesday. Oh my gosh. Have an apple. I can't believe I forgot. Have an apple. Have a good day. Thanks for watching.
It's Go7, king of the penguins. Of all the penguins, he is king. It's Go7, king of the penguins. Being king of the penguins, that